Down in Australia, something really big is happening with renewable energy. And it's not just about a giant new battery project. It's about creating a whole new blueprint for the future of green industry. It's a fundamental shift in thinking, and it all kicks off with one huge idea.
It really all boils down to this one question, right? This is the core challenge for renewables. Solar is fantastic when the sun's out, but what about at night? How do you keep a factory running around the clock on clean energy? Well, Australia is pretty sure it's finally cracked the code. And their answer begins with this massive project called Supernode North. Now, on the surface, yeah, it's one of the largest battery projects in the entire southern hemisphere. But its real innovation isn't just its size, it's the strategy behind it that could literally change everything. Okay, so let's get into it. What exactly is this supernode? To really understand why it's such a big deal, we need to look at its scale, its location, and of course, the technology that's making it all possible. First off, the numbers are just staggering. Supernode North is being built for a capacity of 780 megawatts. Now, that isn't just a big number on a page. Think of it as a massive reservoir of power, ready to stabilize the grid and pump out energy on an industrial scale, right when it's needed most. So it's being built in a place called Woodstock, on some old research land. The tech itself is proven stuff. Lithium-ion batteries packed into those big standardized containers, so it can be rolled out fast. But here's the really telling part. It got federal environmental approval in a matter of weeks. That kind of speed is almost unheard of, and it just signals a huge amount of confidence in this type of project. But just storing power is really only half the story. This is where it gets really clever. The real purpose of Supernode North isn't just to back up the existing grid. It's designed to build something entirely new, a dedicated hub for green manufacturing. This is the genius of the model, right here. Local solar farms generate a ton of power. Any of that excess power gets stored in the Supernode. Then, that stored energy is used to provide reliable 24/7 power to a brand new factory built right next door. And what's that factory making? Polysilicon, the key ingredient for solar panels. It's a completely self-sustaining closed-loop ecosystem. The developers themselves put it perfectly. They're, and I'm quoting here, completing a vertically integrated clean energy supply chain on a single precinct. In other words, they're not just making green power, they're using that power to build the actual tools of the green economy, all in the same spot. It's brilliant. And this model is so good, it's not just happening in one place. As huge as Supernode North is, it's actually just one piece of a much, much larger strategy for the entire state. The company behind it all, Quinbrook, is actually building a two-pronged battery network that spans across Queensland. The strategy is simple, but it is so powerful. You've got Supernode North anchoring the grid up in the north, and at the same time, down south near Brisbane, there's another giant project called South Pine that's already up and running. And they strategically placed it where 80% of the state's electricity flows. So they've essentially bookended the entire power corridor with massive storage. And that southern project is moving incredibly fast. Stage 1 is already online, and by 2027, its total capacity is going to match Supernode North at a whopping 780 megawatts. This isn't some far-off dream. This is happening right now with real momentum behind it. And the money behind it is just as impressive. We're talking over 1.4 billion Australian dollars being poured into the South Pine project alone. This isn't some speculative gamble. It's a long-term structural investment. The energy companies see this as a core asset for the future of the grid. But the vision doesn't even stop there. Even as they're building out this massive lithium-ion network, the developers are already planning for what's next, for the next evolution in battery technology. They're looking to solve an even tougher energy storage problem. And that problem is what we call long-duration storage. This is the tech that can store and then release energy for 8, 10, 12 hours or even longer, far beyond what most current batteries can do. This is really the key to getting through those long, windless nights or a string of cloudy days. So to tackle this, Quinbrook has teamed up with CATL, a global giant in the battery world, to roll out a new technology called EnerQB. They're planning to deploy a staggering 3 gigawatts of this long-duration storage across Australia. And the very first place it's going? It's slated for the expansion at the South Pine site. This move basically turns Queensland into a global showcase for the next generation of energy storage. So when you connect all these pieces, the incredible scale, the co-located manufacturing, the next-gen tech, what you have is something much more than just a power project. It becomes a globally significant model for the entire future of green industrialization. And that's really the key takeaway here. These supernodes aren't just batteries to balance the grid. By putting that massive storage right next to manufacturing, they become an industrial catalyst. They attract new industries, they create jobs, and they build a complete self-sufficient domestic supply chain for the green economy. And that leaves us with a fascinating question to ponder. We're watching a real-world test case unfold in Australia, a model that combines large-scale energy storage with targeted industrial development. So, could this integrated approach be the blueprint that finally powers a truly global green industrial revolution?